it's Rudy at Claude Painting Studio. Time for another unboxing video. So I went shopping recently at Wargames Atlantic and couldn't resist picking up a Richard Sharpe 1809 model. They have recently announced that they're going to be making a Sharpe's Rifles game, and this is the first figure available. So it's a rather typical quote from Richard Sharpe at the top of the box there. And this is very much leaning into the literary world of Bernard Cornwell. Some fantastic books, if you haven't read them, full of daring do and action, and also gives you a bit of an understanding of what the Napoleonic period was like in terms of warfare. Even if, you know, some of the stories are a bit far-fetched, they are good fun. So what's inside the box? We've got one sprue, which has two figures on it, although they are at vastly different sizes. Dominating the sprue is a 54mm version of Richard Sharpe. Nice display piece to paint up. Or if you're interested in playing games with bigger models, then I dare say this would look at home on the tabletop. I've got parts for a 28mm scale figure as well. And at 28mm there are a couple of different options for posing. Either got the bigger rifle being loaded or held at trail. And there's two different heads as well. There's one which is quite close to a certain actor that played the role with blonde hair. And the other one's a bit different. In the books he's described as having a scar and dark hair, so it's nice to see that there's two head options there, depending on which way you want to go. A couple of bases included in the sprue, textured for 28mm, and also quite a scenic one at 54mm with some tactical rocks on there. So this looks like it'll be really nice to build and put together. Right, I've spent about 10 minutes putting both the figures together. So can anyone spot the weird thing? The image on the box is mirrored. It's flipped from the real figure. The rifle's over the right shoulder on the model, but over the left on the box. A bit of an odd thing to do. I wonder if it's been done just to have that nice portrait of Sean Bean down at the bottom corner looking a bit nicer. But why wouldn't you maybe just mirror him? I think it potentially confuses people who are building the model going, oh my gosh, mine doesn't look anything like the one on the box. What is wrong here? Oddly enough, on the back of the box, the figure is correctly posed. So yeah, I don't know why you would do that. Anyway, the figure went together really nicely. Minimal tidying up, some mold lines, that's fine. I'm going to have to do a little bit of space filling with a little bit of epoxy putty round about the shoulders. And one tip for you is probably put the arm on first that's holding the scabbard, and then put the blanket roll and bag on. 28mm figure. Yes, there are two heads. One looks right, one looks left. I don't necessarily think that there's much difference in terms of the facial appearance, but with a bit of paintwork, I'm sure you could add the scar that comes from Sharpe in the book. So Wargames Atlantic already do a box of 95th rifles with an officer figure who bears a passing resemblance to Richard Sharpe. I've got my quickly painted example from that box down beside the new figure. New figure has got a bit more heft across the shoulders. He's not quite as wiry. But I think the way that this one has been sculpted with fewer options actually means that it's a more cohesive figure. Sticking any old arm on a multi-part plastic kit can sometimes lead to slightly less natural proportions, and the anatomy can be a wee bit off. So I think that the new figure would look good in a unit of rifles. But I think probably I'll be using these new Sharpe figures for skirmish gaming, individually based, getting up to no good and disrupting the French in the peninsula. So I hope to paint these models soon. As a former 54mm Inquisitor player back in the noughties, I've always really enjoyed painting the larger scale figures. I haven't painted one now for 7-8 years, but this large scale Sharpe figure is a great excuse for getting the brushes out again. I might do a painting guide and show you the process. If you want to get yourself some Wargames Atlantic figures, then there is a link in the description that'll net me a wee kickback. Same cost of figures for you, but if you want to support the channel, that's one way to do it, or you can become a Patreon supporter or channel member. So thanks for watching. Got any comments, stick them below, and I'll be back with a new video very soon. Bye bye.